Happy Wednesday, everyone. Today's story is Little Monsters.
Once upon a time, there was a little werewolf with a big problem. His voice was really squeaky. Whenever there was a full moon, Howler howled so high, "Woo-hoo!" that all the other werewolves howled with laughter. Howler hated feeling the odd one out, so Papa Werewolf and Mama Werewolf sent their son to monster school where he could learn how to be frightening. But Howler would find the school frightening. He wasn't sure who'd be more afraid of, the teachers or the pupils. Howler took a seat at the back of the classroom. Suddenly his teacher whooshed in on her broomstick, smashing the skeleton to pieces as she did so. Clatter! The first lesson of the day, announced Miss Spell, is how to pull a scary face. Show me your scariest ones. The vampire flashed his fangs. The ghost grinned a ghoulish grin. The skeleton showed a sinister smile. All eyes turned to Howler. "You!" snarled Miss Spell, pointing at her new pupil. Yes, miss? Show me your scariest face now!" The little werewolf did his best. He bulged out his eyes. He waggled his ears and stuck out his tongue. Instead of looking scary, he looked like he was blowing off. All the other little monsters hooted with laughter. "You couldn't scare a fly," mocked the teacher. "The second lesson of the day is spooking," announced Miss Spell. In the school hall, the witch ordered the mummy to stand still with his back turned. One by one, the little monsters did their best to creep up on him. The vampire flew. The ghost floated. The skeleton rattled. Finally, it was Howler's turn. The little werewolf was so nervous he tripped up over his tail. Trip! He tumbled over and over again. Roll! Landing by the skeleton's feet. Thud! "You couldn't scare a flea!" snorted Spell. Next, the teacher led the little monsters down some steep stone steps. "The final lesson of the day is gruesome growls," she said, her voice echoing around the dark dungeon. "Oh no," thought the little werewolf with the squeakiest voice. "My worst nightmare." "Howler," barked the teacher, "your turn." "Sss," went the vampire. "Woo-hoo," went the ghost. "Snarl," went the skeleton. But now it was Howler's turn. "B-b-b-b." "No," demanded the witch. Trembling with fear, Howler howled higher than ever before. "Howler!" bawled Miss Spell. "You couldn't scare a nit! You're a disgrace to Monster School! To the headmaster's office at once!" "Howler, you will never ever be a monster," boomed Mr. Ogre. "Please, sir." "You are expelled from Monster School." A tear welled in Howler's eye. Sulking back home to the forest, the werewolf spotted another group of little monsters going door to door and saying, "Trick or treat." These monsters were different. As he drew closer, Howler saw that they were little humans dressed up as monsters, and it was Halloween. "Wow, cool werewolf costume," said an alien on spotting him. "Are you on your own?" asked Spider. Howler nodded sheepishly. None of the kids realized Howler was a real-life werewolf. "Come and join us," said a shark. "Thanks," exclaimed Tyler, smiling for the first time in ages. "You look so scary. You can go at the front," said the alien. Tyler wasn't too sure. He gulped before he knocked on the first door. Sure, he couldn't even scare a gnat. Knock, knock, knock. But before the werewolf could even say trick or treat, the man at the door screamed, "Ah!" He threw a hail of sweets at the little monsters. The kids caught them and were over the moon. They had never had so many treats. With Tyler leading the pack, the same thing happened at the house after house. "Help! No! Yikes!" Soon, more and more little monsters from all over town joined in the fun. As no one dared to say trick to the little werewolf, they were treats for everyone. Now it was late, and they'd knocked on all the doors. The little monsters were stuffed full of sweets and ready to head home to bed. But there was still one more person Tyler was determined to scare. Can you guess who? "Just one more. Follow me," he said. Soon they had reached Monster School. "When I hold up my paw, I want you all to do your loudest howl," announced Tyler. All the kids grinned from ear to ear. This was gonna be fun. "Shh!" hissed Tyler as they crept into the classroom, where Miss Spell was busy marking homework. Tyler raised his paw and he led them all to the loudest howl. "Ah!" screamed the teacher, shooting out of her chair. Whoosh! She bounced off the ceiling. Boing! She bounced off the walls. Boing, boing! And she bounced off the floor. Boing! Before bouncing right into the headmaster, who had appeared at the door. Wallop! "What is the meaning of this?" thundered Mr. Ogre as the little monsters helped him up. "It looks like I can scare after all, sir," replied Tyler. The headmaster looked down at the crumpled witch by his feet. Miss Spell was out cold. "Tyler, I was wrong. You are scary. May I welcome you back to Monster School?" The little werewolf looked around at the kids in the costumes. "No thanks. I'm going to stick with my new friends." All the little monsters broke out in a howl of happiness. Woohoo! What about Papa Werewolf and Mama Werewolf? They couldn't have been happier that their son was just happy being himself. Tyler did go to school with his new friends. So, when you are at school having a look around your classroom, sitting at the back might just be a little monster. It's cool to be the odd one out. Oh, woohoo! Ah!